Aloha, this is Aja Eyre with Maui Pono Network, and today is February 6, 2023, and I'm so excited to talk to you about what's happened in the county governance this week. Now, the first question you might have is what happened at the council meeting on Friday? So some of you maybe were there because it seemed like there were a lot of people there, and that was really great to see. Now, I have to admit, I went into this expecting kind of the same upset, passionate, dramatic experience that had happened the week before, but it was much calmer and much more peaceful. And I have to say I prefer it. And part of that was, and hopefully you saw the news report about this, is that Alice Lee came out and said, we'd like to change back to how we were doing it before, 3 minutes of testimony, and you can testify at the beginning of the meeting, or as the state law says, right before the item comes up. It seemed to calm everybody down, and the testifiers were able to take their time and say what they needed to say. So we really appreciate the decision made by the council to allow 3 minutes of testimony and to allow people to testify at the very beginning of the meeting so that they don't have to wait literally all day to testify, because that's how long it would take. So one of the most incredible and heart-melting experiences was listening to the testifiers on behalf of traditional birth attendants. Now, the council, through Councilmember Rollins Fernandez, put forth a resolution to ask the state to permanently permanently remove traditional birth attendants and cultural birth attendants from the need to get licensed in the state of Hawaii. Now, there's a whole host of reasons of why we kind of have this strange licensing system for health providers and birth attendants and all of that. But what they were saying is to the state, we want you to continue to keep traditional birth attendants off of the licensing requirements. So what happened is all of these women and men from around the county came and testified on behalf of this resolution, and it was amazing. At least 30% of the testifiers had never testified in any council meeting before. They gave heartfelt, well-prepared, written out, spoken from the heart testimonies with succinct information. It was one of the most amazing sets of testimonies I've ever experienced in a council meeting. Two of the testimonies I especially appreciated were Opalulani Albino and Scarlett Riddy, who testified from the Molokai district office. And these women gave just beautiful, succinct, lovely testimonies. Both of them said they had never testified before. It was great to hear from the Molokai district office too. So there were 32 testifiers on behalf of this resolution. And of course, the council, thank you for listening to the women, all voted in favor of this resolution. So what happens next is the resolution will go to the state legislature, and the legislature will decide before June whether to continue to keep traditional birth attendants off of the state licensure need, or they might start requiring it. So Alice Lee said, I encourage the testifiers here to testify at the state legislature because the council can only send a resolution. So now it's up to these testifiers to go to the state and to ask them to continue to keep traditional birth attendants off of that state need for licensure. So wonderful, amazing experience. Good job, Maui community. You really came through on this one. The other one that was very heartening was the testimonies that came forth on behalf of purchasing a small, relatively small parcel of land in Molokai that is a wetlands. It actually has endangered seabirds there. And people came forth and testified on behalf of wetlands and said wetlands are really, really important to our ecosystem. And this is something I think you as a public need to really keep an eye on over the next couple of years. You're going to see a lot of support from nonprofits, from community members on behalf of wetlands. So what is this? And I won't go into the full details now, but the wetlands are an important aspect of water health and quality, both freshwater and seawater. Health and quality in our island. So it's how we take care of floodwaters. It's how we allow fish and birds to reproduce and replenish the land and the water, the seawater. I mean, they have all these different aspects. They're kind of the central swamp that we take for granted. We take these for granted, and the council is starting to recognize this and to put money towards purchasing these and putting into public acquisition. Now, it's interesting because Mayor Bitson during his campaign said he was not in favor generally of public acquisition, but the council has made steps to make public acquisition more of a thing. For wetlands, this public acquisition is imperative because history has proven that wetlands do not do well in private hands. They either need to be put into conservation or they need to be put into public acquisition in order for them to be able to do their job. They should not be developed. They should not be used for anything. They can be used for recreation, but they should not be used for anything that would limit their use to the ecosystem. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Wetlands, it's the hot, mark my words, it is the hot topic for the next 2 years. The other hot topic, maybe not as interesting, the clerks who are currently sitting, Juana Ludi and Rochelle Thompson, were rehired as the clerk and deputy clerk. Now, this was after a push for applications to come in from around the United States to fill this position. But in the end, just kind of, council just decided to rehire the people that were already there. Again, lots of frustration there for those of us who are watching, because we felt like there were some good candidates that maybe should have given an opportunity to say more or to have questions that were a little deeper. It didn't feel very organized. This aspect of the council meeting did not feel like they really had a plan forward. It was hampered a little bit because the council meetings are run by the clerk and deputy clerk, who were also trying to keep their jobs. So it was uncomfortable, to say the least. What ended up happening then is they were put in those positions. We don't know for how long. We don't know if when the charter amendment comes into place this summer, if it's going to mean that they have to be rehired again, or if they'll just stay in until their term runs out, or we don't know. The other interesting thing that happened is that they actually were able to get pay raises. So even though they were already in the position with the salary, the Corporation Council back in the fall had pushed for a pay raise for the clerks, and then Corporation Council employees, Juana Ludi and Rochelle Thompson, were put in those positions and then given those pay raises. Again, a lot of questions. Is the Salary Commission going to approve these pay raises? Is 43% and 51% an appropriate pay raise in 1 year? Lots of unanswered questions. The council didn't really answer those, but they did say that they were supporting those pay raises. So who knew? Who knew that that's where you want to be if you want to make money in Maui, is in the clerk's office, but it is right now. We do appreciate the work that the clerk does. It's some of the most important work we have in the county, because they cover elections and they keep the council meetings running smoothly. So they actually make laws and get people elected. Not they get people elected, but they are the ones that count those votes. So it's a very, very important position. They work very hard, but still a lot of questions about the process to get to this point. Anyway, it was a great council meeting. It was long, but not as long as last week. I don't have any news coming from the administration. It looks like they've just been working on getting all the departments filled in the county, but we'll keep you abreast if we hear anything from the mayor's office. The next council meeting is February 17th. Committee meetings start on February 21st. If you have any questions or comments, we invite you to put those below in the comment section. Send us an email. Let us know what you'd like to hear about. We really appreciate you taking the time to be informed about the county and the governance. And again, I'm Aja Eyre with Maui Pono Network. Aloha and have a great week.